Speaking about the Democrats, let me continue reading the Democratic Party platform, which is like Kamala Harris's policies. So good jobs. There's these generational. Actually, no. I'll stop out since I'm at a new section as well too. In 6 minutes, ads are gonna start running on my Twitch channel as well too. I'm gonna take a self care break. Probably get another throw of lotions. I'm talking a lot, so I do need to like. Maybe I should actually make some tea. Maybe I'll do that. I have some tea bags somewhere. Um, so yeah, we're going to take a self-care break. Maybe I'll get some tea, maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. So now this would be good. So I'm going to be running ads on my Twitch channel. In run 3 minutes of ads, so that way pre-roll ads will not will be halted for like a good like hour on my Twitch channel, so that no one will see pre-roll ads when they come into my channel. And while I run ads on my Twitch channel, I'll take a self-care break. Encourage you all to take a self-care break too. Have vacation, haven't taken it yet. Now's a good time to do so. And take the opportunity to use the facilities or do all these other things too. I'm going to switch over to be back screen on both YouTube and Twitch. Run 3 minutes ads on my Twitch channel, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Send it back down, transfer manual. I didn't like make the tea. I figured it's like, oh wait, it's gonna take a lot longer to like make the tea as well too, and then I want to leave people too long without me as well too. I just want to like keep the breaks like at a minimum of like fewer minutes, if that, and don't want to like make people wait longer. I'm just gonna like lurk in other like friends extremes as well too. Yeah, make sure the tabs are muted. Well, so muted so like they don't hear, you don't hear, and then like, and I wish I can get Gerva notification. It's like, hey, you want to knock on your friend's stream, something like that? No, I don't want to fucking do that. Some of these people do know me, but it's like I don't know if they would want to knock, and it's like. The feature of knock can be spontaneous as well too. Like streamers like will do that on their own. If like they're playing Fortnite, their friends playing Fortnite, they'll kind of like DM each other. It's like, hey, you want to like play Fortnite with each other? And sure enough, and then they'll play Fortnite and that or that. But it's like that's about it. So. It's gonna, yeah. Okay, there we go. All right, I gotta get back to the streaming. I could have like stayed like on the Bay Right Back screen longer to like make my tea. But also, it seems like one the burners are not working properly, or like it takes a lot longer to like heat up as or too. So I decided like, okay, no, it's gonna take longer than 3 minutes in order to do that. So I'm gonna skip tea for now and like do it like in the next break as well too. So now we're at the part of the chapter 1 about the economy on the Democratic Party platform of good jobs. So, good jobs as opposed to bad jobs. I see job is a bad job. Okay, this generational investments are transforming our economy, creating new businesses, new jobs, new cycle of hope in red states and blue states, and rural, urban, and tribal nations communities too long left behind. I wonder why those tribal nations were left behind. Huh? Going to on. In all, President Biden agenda has already created over nearly 800,000 manufacturing jobs and 880,000 more jobs in construction, building the roads, factories, and dreams of our future. More Americans are employed in these fields and clean energy today than ever were under like Trump. President Biden's agenda requires that any federal finance like infrastructure job must like include wage and labor protections, and we are making sure that these protections are like American-made goods. These projects are American-made, used by American-made goods by strengthening Buy American product rules and like to their toughest levels in 7 decades. Okay, the interesting thing about like Made in America is kind of a loophole. A friend of mine did work at this manufacturing factory where they like received in products of like devices and other things will do. It was made in China, made in Taiwan, made in Singapore, made in like a country with like poor labor laws and stuff like that, and very little labor protections, and were made on cheap. And then they will take those products, disassemble them, or disassemble parts of them, some parts of it, and then further down the line, reassemble it, and then package it up again. So that way, they can put the label on "Made in America." That's it. The majority of work was done in another country with like the with much cheaper labor, and all I have to do to like have it be "Made America" or "American Made" is that be it sent to American factory, disassemble it and reassemble it, and then ship it off saying "Made in America." So I wonder if they're gonna like fix that loophole. I don't know if they are or not. Hey, it employs more jobs, so there's that, I guess. That means continue on. That means every federal funded like infrastructure project is being built with American made steel, lumber, drywall, concrete, and other products by American workers. And the administration has taken historical steps to ensure that these workers are paid preventable wages and is with a free and fair choice to join the union and to incentivize project labor agreements. I mean, I guess the nation has like so many of these like resources as well too. But that's the thing also with the problem like the overproduction of capitalism. When you just Google search like new car graveyards. Because there's basically several new cars that are produced every single year in factories, like in America and like in other places as well too, that are constantly producing new cars that never get bought and sold. Period, and just like wastes away in like a new car graveyard. And why is it that we continue to do that? It's overproduction of capitalism. Just look up the overproduction of capitalism on Google, and hopefully Google will provide you with good search results with that. Or try Bing or DuckDuckGo. But the part of the reason that they continue producing like cars is like, well, these people that are the car manufacturing factories need jobs. And if also we don't produce the cars as often as we do, then like all the people in the steel workers places also would not like have like jobs to do as well too, and they'll be out of work too. And then they'll have to be like on the streets begging for their food and stuff like that, and they're unable to feed their families. So it's a constant perpetuation of production as well too. It's like, well, people need jobs as well too, and so then there's always this like incentive to produce more things that we ultimately don't need, and produce more new cars, and then have them sit in like new car graveyards. So I guess if like America can be like self-reliant to like to operate on their own steel, lumber. There's like a lot of forests in like logging industry in like in the USA, so there's definitely that. Drywall, concrete, and other things like sure, and sure for like job production as well too. Anyway, continue on. President Biden believes that he shouldn't have to like go to 4 years in college, 4-year college to live a good middle class life. I mean, I'm trying to like have a decent life for myself while never working at a job where I didn't have to like, go to college to like work at that job. But yeah, so many people that work at the manufacturing company is also kind of like interested in other job positions. Continue on. Democrats are working to make sure that like Americans can access these quality new jobs, where many people can earn over $1,000 a year. The American Rescue. I mean, I don't. People don't have to have like $100,000 a year. It's just like prices for everything were just like very low, or like rent's not a thing, or like we just house like several people in the 6 times as many people as houses as there are homeless people as well too, or get rid of the concept of bills and all that sort of stuff as well too. That's hard for a Kirok to believe, but like that's okay. We'll just have to like kind of convince more people that that is possible. But anyway, continue on. The American Rescue Plan supports more than like 4,300 state and local government workforce and departments development programs. While our investing in the American agenda is expanding job training and partnerships between high school, community college, unions, and employers. We have a million trainees enrolled in like registered like apprenticeships today. Apprenticeships have long provided a reliable path to middle class and empowering workers to like earn while they learn, and not only in traditional trades but like new cutting-edge technologies. Extreme Republicans. What do you mean by extreme Republicans? You mean fascists, right? That's just the majority of the Republican Party, fascists. I guess some are more extreme than others. Okay. So continuing. Extreme Republicans have proposed cutting funding for registered apprenticeships in this year's budget. We will make historical investments in them to keep expanding opportunities, including by partnering directly with unions. Out of the two parties, the Democrats will be more pro-union than the Republicans, but Democrats will still crush unions that they do against them as well too. Just mark my words. Continue on. Democrats know that Wall Street didn't build America. Democrats, you still get funded by Wall Street, though. Okay, continue on. The middle class built America, and unions, unions you're the first one to redeem that. No, maybe you're not. Anyway, ooh woo, I'm adorable little communist. Ooh woo. Nekonomicon still has not redeemed that yet. She's not always in my streams or lurking in my streams, and often is busy on the weekend, so that's fine as well too. But yeah, there's a bit of a story behind that as well too. And that was a punishment. I stated something incorrectly, and so then I said to Necronomicon, "What's my punishment for making an incorrect statement as well too?" And she tells me to they say I'm adorable little communist, and so there you go. Ooh boo, I'm adorable little communist. Ooh woo. Anyway, continue on. The middle class built America, and unions built the middle class. President Biden and Vice President Harris are proud to lead the pro-union administration, the most pro-union administration in history. I guess, but that's not. I don't know. I guess you got me there. I don't know any other administration that's very pro-union, but that's because it's a very low bar to be very pro-union, compared to the history of all the other administrations. Continue on. President Biden named staunch labor allies and former union and leaderships to positions across the government and empowered them to fight for good jobs and workers' rights. Biden's the first person to walk a picket line, joining the UWA workers on strike in Detroit, and before their one historical wage increases last year. He knows when unions win, all workers benefit, and as we rebuild our economy for our future, that every worker needs a voice and a fair shot. Again, it's just we don't need work 40 hours, as though we can share the work across for everything to with everyone that is able to do such work as well too. Oh, and there's a lot of unnecessary work and bullshit jobs that people are employed in that we can just cut that if we want to, but no one wants to because people need jobs. We just have to really completely rethink how we work things as well too. I guess one way also get rid of bullshit jobs is also just have a unconditional basic income or universal basic income, and yeah, that means to everyone, including prisoners, because how else is that? How is it universal? And how is it unconditional? It's not literally for everyone. Continue on. Democrats will keep fighting to pass the Protection Act's organization Act to give everyone the right to organize for better pay, benefits, and working conditions, and to hold abusive bosses accountable for violating workers' rights. I believe we'll not see it. But it is much easier to unionize under Biden and the Harris administration than under Trump. I can see that as well too. But again, it's just that's because it's a very low bar to do so. I mean, we still have a lot of right to work states and a lot of right to work policies in amongst places. Well, too, get rid of that and have a lot more protection for workers, and that might be something. Make it actually really hard for an employee to be fired. That does mean that terrible employees will be employed as well too, and be hard to get rid of terrible employees as well too. Yes, but I much prefer that than have it be an employer pro-employer society, whereas the employers has all the powers and they can just get rid of people willy-nilly as much as they want. Oh, they actually say we oppose states' rights to work laws. Okay. So at least they'll say that as well too. We'll see that if that actually comes in actions, which drive down wages and leave workers unsafe. We support penalizing employers who engage in union busting. That's every company, honestly. That's Starbucks, Amazon, all the biggest companies too, as well too. So you have to you have to penalize so many different companies. And again, it's like if you like the penalization is just a fine, they just like make it like it only a crime for poor people to commit. Rich people can commit those crimes as much too. If the only penalty is just like a fine because they can afford the fine, then it's just a constituted business. It's cost of union busting. I mean, they just calculate that cost in like in their everything else. Continue on. We will work to pass like a public service freedoms to like negotiate act, guaranteeing public sector like bargaining rights, and to codify a right to organize for domestic workers, farm workers, and other unprotected laborers. I hope that you make it really easy for anyone that is coming into the country to get a green card, so they can actually like also like organize for like protective rights as well too, because like those like illegal immigrants are part of the unprotected laborers. But I bet Democrats will talk both sides of their mouth because they're also for like a strong border too. Continue on. Democrats will continue to like create strong labor standards for like jobs created with taxpayer dollars through like legislation and with like strong Buy American rules. Consistent with the laws, we will again. I already explained my issues with Buy American as well too. There's loopholes so we can get around it. Continue on. Consistent with the laws, we will ensure that like federal grants and other assistance to like employers are like can condition on recipients committing to not interfering with workers' efforts to form union. By leveraging the benefits of federal grants for infrastructure and manufacturing and services, we will seek to ensure that like all Americans have the opportunity to participate in the American dream. What is the American dream? Because honestly, the reason why it's the American dream is because like it only exists when you fall asleep. Continue on. We will strengthen enforcement and penalties for safety, wage, and other laborers and employment violations. And Democrats will continue to like aggressively hold companies accountable for violating child labor laws. We will increase like the funding for the Occupation Safety and Health Administration to protect workers on the job. We will continue to support the workplaces of whistleblowers. At the same time, we are pushing to guarantee workers the pay benefits and protections they'll deserve as well. We passed like Butch Lewis like Act and keeping 2 million people's like hard-earned pensions like solvent. Have created it so that like everyone gets a pension, I guess, even those who can't work. Continue on. We also raised the minimum wage for federal contractors to $17 and like 20 an hour, and we'll keep pushing Congress to increase $15 for all Americans. Hello, gentlemen. Oh, gentlemen, Metro Trump as well too. Hello, there are 4 people watching. And shout out how relevant you are, people you are. I mean, you're here. You don't have to be here if you don't want to. Oh, but the thing is, like, I can. Part of me kind of doubts that, like, the Democrats are pushing for the $15 minimum wage. Just enact it, and also, like, there was like 6 Democrats that voted down. And like some of the Democratic senators that they vote for the $15 minimum wage knew it was going to pass, so they can like vote for it, and be like, look, I'm for a $15 minimum wage based on this vote, something like that. But know that it's not going to pass because like if their vote could have like made it so like $15 minimum wage passed, that would not please their donors. And the problem with like many of the Democratic senators is that like the Wall Street is also their donor class as well too. They more or less have the same donors as like the Republicans. It's just like maybe like the different factions of the rich class, of the bourgeoisie class. That's like is their donor class, and it's only basically we're not going to get a $15 minimum wage. We should have a $20 minimum wage or a $25 minimum wage right now. Let's not call it the minimum wage. We call it like minimum thriving wage. Hey, but also like honestly, like you can live off $15 minimum wage if like there's a caps on rent and prices for like oil, food, gasoline. If as long as we got the fossil fuel industry and like most people's like cars and vehicles are run on fossil fuels, if we're going to have that. But caps on everything is like necessary for life. Electricity, internet, for sure, absolutely. Caps on all those things. Food, oh, caps on like the prices for like healthcare as well too, or have a single payer healthcare system as well too. I haven't got the portion of what they'll mention in Medicare for all if they do, but have a caps on all those things. Make it so like the cost of living is so minimal and so minuscule that even at $7.25 an hour, you can probably live off that. But will they do that? I doubt that, honestly. Continuing, we're making millions of like and we're making millions more hourly workers eligible for overtime pay, and we crack down on like wage theft and exploitation, recovering over 750 million for low wage workers wrongly denied paid. I mean, still the wage theft still happens more often than not, though. But like, we'll see if they actually are going to like just promise that or actually going to do something about that. We're making it harder for employees to like misclassify workers as independent contractors to avoid paying them the full benefits and full pay and benefits. Oh, they're still going to try to like continue to be like independent contractors. Hi, Hive Dev Pretzel. How you doing? We're banning most like non-competitive like agreements, freeing workers to like move between jobs and negotiate. You know, the part of the reason that like, many people just like move between jobs is because like many jobs are shitty, and it seems like for some people the only way to like advance and like or get increased pay something like that is if they change jobs, because like employers kind of see it still as a competition between like other employers, and so if they're able to like with football players or in other sports teams well too, if you get like a highly praised like athlete from one team, then that team no longer has that athlete, and but you have the athlete, so not only you have a better athlete, but you also deny the other teams those athletes as well too. So that's where it's like many people like change their jobs like that most often try to get like pay increases. So if they don't get the pay increases from their normal work as well too, they'll just like find other employment in other words too. A lot of people like left my company as well too. Uh, but to continue on, already most like non-compete agreements freeing workers to move between like jobs and negotiate, and we restricted mandatory operations, so fewer employers can silently wrong employees and workplace disputes. And also, there's also many contracts with that where it's like where you cannot work for like other companies. I mean, even like in video games, like the Nolan Bushnell, the guy who created Pong, basically the father of the video game industry as we know it right now. He had a non-compete clause in his like contract with like Atari, so that when he like finally said, "Okay, I want to leave Atari," when he leave Atari, he could not work in the video game industry ever again, almost like lifetime, because that was in his contract for Atari. So after he created Atari, and after he created Pong and Atari, he can leave Atari. He cannot create video games ever again. I don't know if he managed to like find a way to like start creating video games again or something like that, or just like change another business ventures. He did create Chuck E. Cheese though, and then so there's that. Um, Continue on. We also recognize that the U.S. Postal Service is the world's most effective, and Democrats are wholly committed to supporting the U.S. Supporting a public USPS, and will find all efforts to privatize. All efforts to privatize it, and will work to ensure that like its financial sustainability. No, actually, yeah, give it to the postal service as well too. They make it, give more money to that thing. So like those jobs at the postal service are good, like paying jobs as well too, and people are happy to work at that as well too, and that they can like do better than like shipping projects than like other services as well too. If you want to have to compete in the system well too, then like do better to compete as well too. I guess that's if we're going to have a system of competition as well too. I would prefer we not compete, but who knows? Anyway, we will protect its universal service obligation and on-time delivery. We will support like a board of governors and a postal regulatory commission and champions a strong public postal service. Trump has a very different record. As president, he not only failed to bring manufacturing jobs home, he pushed to cut funding for R&D jobs and trainings and gave tax breaks to big corporations. You're going to give big tax breaks to corporations too, but not as big. Or continue the tax breaks to corporations from the previous administrations or the Republican Party's administration as well too. Maybe you might increase the taxes on them too, but it won't be up to like the level that we had it before in this country under like FDR and the New Deal, where it's at 94%. In the highest bracket for like corporations, it was at 94%, whereas like 94% of that income in that bracket, again, just remember how like tax practices work. In your first like the money in your first bracket up to 15,000 is taxed by a certain tax rate in that bracket, and then the additional money made after that tax bracket and tax in that bracket, only that money is taxed in that bracket as well too. So it's not like they're paid 94% in taxes in for corporations and for all of their money. No, only the money they made in the highest bracket. If that's 100 million, if that's like $10 million in like 1950s and 1940s money as well too, then only the money that they make after 10 million will be taxed at that like highest bracket at 94%. Yeah, there was a time it was a tax at 94%, and we were a poor country at that time too. And now we're much richer, but like the wealth has accumulated up in the top. Where like the richest Americans in the world owns about the like, same amount of wealth as the bottom 150 million Americans in the world, and that's the problem with that disparity. It's with all the money funneling to the top. I know the Democrats will say they'll like cut down on like triple down economics. I just read that part as well too. I will believe it when I see it. I think it's like some of it's just like it's going to trickle down more, actually trickle down, or like they're just going to like just tax the rich more, which is like better than not taxing them, but still like tax them way more, or just like I'd rather the rich not exist, as I stated. Ooh, I adorable little communist. Ooh, ooh. And how are you doing, Dead Pretzel? How are you doing well? Um, so here's more about like Orange Man Bad. He gave tax breaks to the big corporations. Again, the Dems will also do that too, or not like repeal those tax breaks. Continue on with no condition they invest in workers or innovation in return. They were never going to do that. And like if you gave them tax breaks, they would just pocket the money. That's what they always would do. Continue on. He sacked like his labor department and National Labor Relations Board with corporate lawyers who made it harder to organize and not easier. His administration ripped protections for like federal workers and slashed workplace safety inspections and blocked increase in like overtime pay. Now Trump and his allies are vowing to repeal key parts of the Biden administration, stalling historical progress, undermining American manufacturing, and costing hundreds of thousands of Americans the good paychecks and future prospects that they serve. I'm not doubting that he would do that. I'm not doubting that. I just like don't think the Democrats are like a strong enough force to like fight against that as well too, or they'll be like that beneficial to like the rest of the Americans or the average Americans. They say they will, but like I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, I have two different drinks as well too. This is like a mixture of like the standard other meal stuff as well too. It's actually ice. So yeah, the like slushies at like the movie theaters and stuff like that. Orange and other flavors as well too. This one is just like Rogue Energy Black Cherry. Decided to finish up the tub of like Rogue Energy Black Cherry. That's okay. There's some chocolateness in Rogue Energy. Not as much chocolateness in G Fuel though. G Fuel is a lot more chocolateness as well too. Continue on. Democrats didn't let that happen. We fought hard to like pass the most significant investments in America in generations. Now we're continuing to improve the work of implementing them to like be sure that the benefits are shared in every corner of like America and create good paying jobs that folks can like raise a family on. And with the chance to join a union, and that relies on materials made at home. We cannot go backwards. We have to like own these industries and jobs for the future. Yeah, America first sort of thing, but economically. No, but again, like pretzel, you probably missed this as well too. Yes, the Democrats are focusing on American-made products sort of thing too. So that even like the government contract jobs are using American-made products too. Here's the interesting thing that's like a loophole around American-made. I have a friend that worked at a manufacturing plant where it's like they will receive parts that were made in manufacturing like China, Taiwan, or somewhere where they manufacture things for cheap. And they open it up and they disassemble the product, whatever it is, device of some kind, or like as well too. Remove this part, remove this part, remove this part, and have it in pieces, or in a couple of pieces. And someone else down the line reassemble that same part, and then they package it up and ship it off. This time with the label "Made in America," because it was unmade in America and then remade in America, thus American made. I can be labeled as made in America, slap that label on, much like how like people put on the label of organic. But you have to pay fines in order to just have your like product be labeled organic for foods. Even if you like follow all those like regulations and all those like rules to like making sure that your produce are absolutely 100% organic by what the rules are to say it's organic, but if you fail to pay the fee to the organization that would put the organic label onto the foods, you're not going to get the organic label put on the foods. So apparently there are some foods and like on some produce and fruits and vegetables in like the grocery store that are actually organic but don't get the label organic, and that's not charged at the organic prices as well too. So yeah, it's like the label says only as good as like the regulations involved in like creating the like insurance of those labels and such. Kind of like want to like see. Okay, there we go. What I'm keep in mind of what you see and what's in it.